I ready to go?
Your Christmas socks on?
Christmas present socks.
You're being recorded, FYI.
We're recording.
So it looked like Christmas presents to me.
They were Christmas. Oh,
You guys are live.
We're live.
Oh, really? So we have to stop talking about socks?
You don't have to.
Got it. So let's stop talking about socks. So good afternoon to probably the only rainy day in California for the whole year, right here, right? And as you probably won't see me walking around the campus this afternoon as much as I normally might. And just nice to have the heat on in Packard Hall today because it's a cold, rainy day outside, right? So let's get right to it. Let's talk about the things that are of current interest today. Westminster Gardens COVID update. We do not have any date yet as to when the vaccine will be available for Westminster Gardens. We're in contact with LA County Department of Public Health, which primarily is overseeing skilled nursing. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But the residential side for Department of Social Services, they've asked that we be prioritized, but they have not given us any dates. Just to remind you that if on the RCFE, which is the license that governs Westminster Gardens, most likely the vaccine will be the Pfizer vaccine. And once we get the call from our what we call our licensing program analyst, and we get a date, then we'll go ahead and set up the time for getting vaccines and to get that first shot, and then we will schedule the second one. They have to be already committed on that date when they give us the first day to 21 days after that, giving us the second shot. Now, for residents of Westminster Gardens, it's important that you shall have already contacted your physician and gotten clearance to get the vaccine. And it's probably not a good idea to wait. It's better to get that now and make sure that you don't have any conditions that would keep you from getting it. Earlier this morning, Andrew, which has been on the live stream with us a number of times now. After getting the vaccine, I personally got it this morning at Royal Oaks under my license as a skilled nursing administrator because they actually came in this morning. Gave us a call Friday, and it happens this fast, by the way. And today they came in with a number of licensed nurses. They set up their tables and they started vaccinating staff and residents of skilled nursing. And as they were asking the questions, because you actually have to sign a disclaimer, and the questions they asked were pretty light to me. And after hearing people answer, I said, Andrew, what is it that would disqualify you from getting the shot? Because it sounded to me like really there was almost nothing. And I'm still asking that question. If you have the answer, you can call into the number here and inform us, but I can tell you that most everyone qualifies to get the vaccine at this point in time. So we'll keep you updated. So then let's give you an update on what's going on at Royal Oaks, just not too far from here. They actually started giving the vaccine this morning. Again, I said we got the call on Friday, and we had 2 days time to set it up and get ready. They're doing a 170 inoculations today, all during the day. And again, this is for both team members or staff and residents of the skilled nursing part of Bradbury Oaks. And then they're doing another 120 tests today to test all of the people who have not been tested in the last week, who are team members, to make sure that we don't have anything out there that we're not aware of. And I right now at Royal Oaks, we have 11 positive team members. We've caught almost all of them before they had an opportunity to be on campus long enough to, to spread the virus. And we have 6 people under investigation, 6 team members. And this is what we call a POI, a person under investigation. If we determine that a team member has been in close proximity, and then let's say in this case, in the same household as someone who tests positive, we immediately ask them to leave the premises. They are quarantined, and until they get, I believe, a negative test and have been out at least 7 days, they cannot come back. And LA County Department of Public Health gives us the instructions. Early on in the virus, went back in March, April, and May, we were going 14 days. And so the number of days has lessened, and they're learning more as they go through this. And it's kind of like a moving target for those of us who are in positions where we have to regulate how it is that we determine a person is, first of all, capable of spreading it, might be a person under investigation, then how they test and when they can come back. And this has changed a number of times. It's almost week to week that we go by. By the way, I want to remind you again, the number you can call is here if you have any questions. I don't want to say I have all the answers, but if you call and you ask a question, I don't have an answer, we'll get that for you as soon as possible. With that said, I want to have a few of our team members who are here today to come up and make a few announcements or to give us perhaps an update on things that are happening here on the Westminster Gardens campus. And the first one is the guy in purple. Come on over here, Gary. And you have 2 things you're going to talk about, right?
Yes.
Well, first of all, are they done with the trees?
Let me take that off so you can see my face and hear me clearly. No, they're not done with the trees yet. So CLS, one, I want to compliment them, and I appreciate all of the positive comments we've gotten from all of the residents. I'm really pleased so far with what they've done. They've done a pretty good job cleaning up, protecting the buildings, protecting the grounds. So I'm very pleased so far with that. At the same time, if there's any issues, if you've experienced anything, please let me know because I'll reach out to their supervisors. After the rain, they should be back. Their equipment is still on site, parked over by the dining room, the diagonal parking at the dining room to the east. So I anticipate them back tomorrow, probably into Wednesday and possibly Thursday. So now they should be on the northeast side or northwest side of the property by the park. So they're still not complete, but they're moving along.
Thank you, because every day I come on site, I hear the buzz saws going, and I can see that that's interesting work that they do. So you have to appreciate someone who's willing to climb that high in a tree and do what they do.
Yeah, just a very good crew. So again, I really do appreciate, I've heard quite a few comments. I know that you've heard a few comments back.
I have. And so then you're going to also give us an update on the TV channels, the TV system?
Yes.
So
what Greg's referring to is our Spectrum and our Dish network. So a few weeks back, we had mentioned that we were turning off our bulk account for Dish TV. So originally, years back, we had signed a contract. The contract has expired. We're providing a complimentary box for every residence on the property. We've been carrying that because Spectrum's been unable to meet their commitment to provide second TVs or the DVR or the DVR Lite service, video on demand, I should say. At this point, it's just not feasible. It's too much to carry that for the entire property. It's thousands of dollars a month. So we've elected as management to discontinue the Dish service. So we put out the notice a few weeks ago. I have a telephone number for customer service that I called around several individuals who have upgraded DVRs or they have HD service that's above and beyond our base package for Dish. This is again for Dish Network. if you're interested in keeping some of the services that you may have that you're paying privately for, please reach out to me in the maintenance office or reach out to Anita's phone at 358-4018. Again, that's 358-4018. And let me speak to you about how we can help you set that up as your own residential account. But again, that service will be discontinued. Tentatively, we're planned for the 1st, January 1st on Friday. So reach out to me if you'd like to keep your dish set up and turn it over into a residential service, or if you experienced any issues calling them and they've been unable to work with you on customer service side. Reach out to me and I'll reach out on the corporate side.
Excellent.
Think we
And then, as I recall, there was one other issue that we talked about, or was that it?
We had mentioned earlier, and we were speaking about some of the work we had done on roofing earlier in the year.
That's it.
That's coming back to be a benefit, a big benefit that we've done that earlier in the year. We put a substantial amount of money into replacing and upgrading some of the roofs on the property. But I also want to mention, as our first major rain of the year, if you experience a leak, please let us know in a timely manner. If you see something, give us a call. We have maintenance on site. We may not be able to get a roofer out immediately, but we can put some plastic up. We can limit any damage. So if you do notice something, please give us a call.
Excellent. So was there a question that came in for? Oh, okay, so it's for me. Well, I guess you're off the hook now.
But thank you very much.
Thank you, Gary. And the answer is, let's see. So it says here, doctor said have vaccine by itself and not within 14 to 4 after having another vaccine. So would that be true for the flu vaccine, I suspect? So what this resident who's called in this information, and that is one of the questions that are asked, is when you sit to get the vaccine, they want to know if you had any other vaccine, I believe within 14 days. And you have to answer no, or you cannot take the coronavirus vaccine like Moderna or Pfizer. And that was one of the questions I had to answer this morning. The other question is any more information on Kaiser? We did ask, or we called Kaiser, and one of the residents actually called Kaiser for us. And they were told that if you have Kaiser, they are going to be giving the vaccine as soon as they get access to it and it's readily available for everyone that is a Kaiser resident or patient. That said, Kaiser also said if you are on a campus such as ours and the virus is made available, or the vaccine is made available, that you should go ahead and get that vaccine there, and that they will reimburse the campus or the community or the organization for the shot that you get. So I would say, based on that information, whichever comes first, you should get. That's certainly the way I would play it, and hopefully that's the way you see it as well. The other thing that I found interesting that I failed to mention before is, I don't know how many of you saw this, and maybe somebody wants to call in and comment on it. Yesterday morning, I believe at 7 a.m. on CNN, they were running maybe it was a repeat of a program that was about the influenza vaccine or influenza virus of 1918 and 1919. And it was probably one of the more interesting segments I've seen on CNN. And it was talking about everything that was going on in 1918 and how bad that vaccine was. We don't realize how bad it was. And when you go back and view the segment, They talk about the fact that this was as the United States was preparing to go to war, to fight World War I, and that the virus was played down a lot. It was called the Spanish flu also. And it also tells you, by the way, next week we'll try to see if you look at it. Why is it called the Spanish flu? And we'll see who watched it and who can call in and give us the answer, right? But they go through what happened. And one of the things I've heard from Dr. Fauci, who is who's prominently questioned about what's going on, is that they had the first round or the first wave of the flu go through. And then the second wave came back and was far more dangerous and far more deadly than the first round because it mutated.
Okay.
And they talk about the loss of life in 1918 and 1919 in the United States, which were hundreds of thousands, and the fact that we have a much larger population now. And he talks about the fact that the things we have going for us now is that we have
Okay, I'll pass it
modern
on.
science that's been able to put together a vaccine in very rapid fashion. We have the fact that we now know that you should be wearing a mask, and even back then they often wore it. We know the importance of social distancing or physical distancing, and we have better medical oversight or medical conditions now than they did there. And when you look at the pictures and they don't show any sequences or any videos from that day, but they show pictures. It was pretty rudimentary, the medical care. And so you begin to see why we may be doing better today, but why it's important to continue to be on our guard because the second round could come back and bite us big time. So we'll see if anyone knows why the Spanish flu was called the Spanish flu. Here comes another question. Vaccination. I can't read all of your writing here. Is it?
The resident said they gave you an article from Time Magazine.
Oh, yes. And I looked at that and I read the article and it was right. They were, that article was very interesting. That, Andrew and I had at that point said that we had not heard that it was a vaccine that just reduced the level of infection you could get, but that in fact is the case, is that the whole purpose of the vaccine is to keep you from having to go to the hospital, and that once you get the vaccine that you still can be a carrier. And that seems to be the case based on what we did after we did some research. So the Time article was very, very much on target. So thank you for bringing that to our attention and enabled us to be a little more accurate in the information we're giving. That being said, now I have another guest today, which many of you may have known or seen, and it's Erica from our sales department. And I asked her to come and talk about, first of all, what our occupancy is today, and then to just dialogue for a few moments. I'm hoping you're going to say that the sales department's really important, but we'll wait and see if you say that. But let's start with looking at the numbers.
I would say yes. According to the numbers, the sales department is a little important here.
Okay.
It's helpful to have the amount of residents we need to keep everything running smoothly and efficiently. So apartment vacancy wise, we do have 18 available spots in independent living. 3 of those are spoken for. So we do have 2 move-ins planned for January and then 1 by the end of March.
So we have 18 unoccupied.
Correct.
3 of those 18 are sold.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Assisted living, we have 6 available studios there, no reservations at this point, and 1 private room in memory care that we're working toward.
And it's interesting, when you compare the assisted living, the cost, what the monthly is on assisted living here in Westminster?
52 for a month to month, not for a current resident, but for outside 52.
Okay, so 5,200. And that really is quite low, quite reasonable to the market.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would just simply say, if many people who come from this area know people who need assisted living, and if you do know someone, we'd like you to recommend Westminster Gardens. Because this is really a very good value for the kind of care they receive and all the services, and of course, access to a great campus.
Right.
This is really good value.
Yeah, and the fact that our rates are all inclusive, so a lot of communities or facilities will have kind of a tiered system. So if you take 4 medications twice a day, it's one rate for med management. 6 medications 5 times a day, it's a higher rate. Our rates are all inclusive, so that is one of the good benefits because rates are not necessarily just going up and up depending on the amount of care that you need. So
I would just tell you since I wanted to provide full disclosure, at Royal Oaks, the same room goes for about $6,800. So, and I know it's a little different program, but that just tells you what a good value we have here at Westminster Gardens. So there's that. I don't want you to run and take your loved one out of Royal Oaks to come here. But you may know someone new who can come here and benefit from what we have here.
and many of our residents do, and those we've spoken with know folks here and have even said their friends have kept them updated about things on campus, and they're very pleased about our no positive resident cases here. So it is
And it
a
is
very
good.
helpful thing.
And that's a good point. At Westminster Gardens, there are 0 resident and 0 team members that are testing positive, and we're testing every week. As a matter of fact, tomorrow, I think we're testing another 20-some team members. So we continue, it's not as though we're not testing, but when we are testing, it's either little or no incidence of positive COVID here. So that is good. We've done a good job.
We're running a tight ship, but it's paying off.
It is paying off. Now let's talk about what the sales have planned for the next couple of months to promote new people coming to the Westminster Gardens campus.
So we are going to be, and actually last month, just prior to Thanksgiving, Bernadette and I did some special holiday drop-offs. So we actually did some home visits or porch drop-offs for some of our prospects who were a little warmer. So we gave them a few different things to kind of carry them through the holidays, which was nice. We did a special fall soap and a Christmas towel, New Year's glasses for them to help celebrate. And so we got them kind of through this season. So for those who were home, they were very appreciative of having
So what's the New
someone.
Year's glass?
Well, the glasses, kind of like the New Year's, just the paper glasses that says Happy New Year. That way they can still celebrate.
Oh, really? So it's kind of like sequins and
Yeah,
feathers
Glitter.
and
glitter, lots of glitter that lasts forever.
and it would kind of go with Gary's shirt.
It would, yes. Gary's carrying a Mardi Gras theme.
And
colors, yeah.
they have sparkling lights, little lights that went
The
on.
budget did not allow for sparkling
Oh,
lights
no
this year,
sparkling
unfortunately.
lights.
Maybe next year.
Boo.
Yes.
That's all right.
And then in a couple days, we're actually doing a special, Delian, the dining team, is helping us to prepare a champagne and charcuterie box. So for some of our prospects as well, who have been kind of on the fence of considering our community, they're going to drive through campus and pick up a special little treat box for them to enjoy for New Year's, which will be nice, kind of bring them back on campus. And then as far as events go, in January 21st, we are planning a Navigating Senior Living Options webinar. Many of you who live on campus currently probably attended that webinar at some point in your journey. And that one is just a general overview about senior living, really targeting those who are just new to the process. So some of the basic questions. And then February 4th, we'll be having our first live event in months. It will be fantastic, hosting it here in Packard Hall. And that one's going to be a resident panel. So we have reached out to some residents who we're going to have as our panelists. And that's always, I don't know that we've had a resident panel before, but we think it's going to be a pretty popular one because us as the sales department telling people how wonderful our campus is one thing. But there's always the real nitty gritty questions that people want to ask residents. And so it'll be nice for them to do that in person. And we'll probably be able to record that session and then email it out to those who weren't able to attend. So if you know of anyone, friends who would be interested in that, just check with Bernadette and I. We can get you the details.
And that's really good to hear because we need to be reaching out. It really is important. So I'm glad to hear that. Now I have 2 more questions. So the first, when you did delivery to their homes, did you wear your mask?
Yes.
Well, good. We're all glad to hear that, right?
Had my regular mask and my human good mask, so they knew who I was.
Ah, okay.
Is it too low?
And second, when you have let's say, an individual or a couple come on campus, what do you do to make sure that our residents are safe and that you're safe when they come on site?
So same process as all of our residents and all of our team members follow. The temperature checks at the front, masks throughout. You guys have seen us driving around in the golf cart. You're always very wonderful and cordial and welcoming. We tell people we're a community of wavers, and that's the case. So residents, thank you for continuing to wave as you see us driving prospective residents and their families around. We do limit kind of where both the number of people and places that we're visiting. So we're not going into the common areas like the main lobby or the library. Dining room kind of depends on if they've been here before or not. And then we wipe our cart down afterward for the next person.
No, and those are a lot of precautions. And so you're doing it really in a very safe way. And I think this is really important to each one of our communities, is that in the midst of this virus, sometimes residents or potential residents begin to understand the real value of being on a campus like this. And as you just mentioned a few minutes ago, we're COVID-free and we're very careful, and it's a community that's kind of enclosed in itself. And everyone who comes and goes is screened, so we don't have people coming and going. It's not like going to an open supermarket or anything like that. And there's a lot of value in that, in this environment. It's not just, if you come in here, you never see your loved ones ever again. It's, we're very careful about how those things happen. And we orchestrate it in such a way as to keep, or to maintain distance and safety. So
Right.
I'm sure you spin it that way, right?
Yes, and there is still the support of the community. So even though maybe residents aren't able to see their loved ones as much as they would like to, can still go off campus. But even on campus, they're seeing other people, your neighbors, the team members, they're still getting the help that they need and still getting some socialization. Whereas at home, yes, you may be able to see your family more often, but now your family is going out and about and bringing who knows what back to you. And here there is still the support system of all the team members and residents, which does go a long way.
Right. And I guess we don't know how long this will go. So these are the things we need to do to keep moving forward. So, oh, thank you. Is there anything else you want to talk about before?
I think that covers it. I think we've got everything. So
Yeah, I think
send
so.
us your friends.
Yeah, right. Yes, right. It's not just our assisted living, it's our independent living. And you know people too who need to be a part of our community.
Correct. There's been residents when we have their housewarming parties that they've had friends come out to. And we do have, for those who aren't aware already, a resident referral program as well. So if you bring in someone new who's not already in our system database, even if they are, we have a partial referral program. So be happy to chat with you about that, either Bernadette or myself.
Great, okay. So anything else from anyone? Mike, did you have anything? No other questions? Valerie is so good. She's always here behind the computer running the program. And Gary, you had nothing else either, right? All right, so I guess that I won't see you until 2021. And that means that this next week, we're going to turn the calendar. And while I won't be out and about today, I'm hoping in the next couple of days, it'll warm up and you can see me walking around the campus again. Have a good day. Have a good week if I don't see you, and we'll see you next year.
Just moving the microphone.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow.
Happy to.
I need to end it, sorry.